welcome. Everyone's so bright-eyed and bushy-tailed this morning. So we are going to start with a song. It's called With My Own Two Hands, and we'd love for you to stand up and join in and sing with us. It's a really simple song, so I think you'll enjoy it. Change the world with my own two hands, make it a better place with my own two hands, make it a kinder place with my own two hands, with my own two hands. I can make peace on earth with my own two hands. I can clean up the earth with my own two hands. I can reach out to you with my own two hands, with my own two hands, with my own two hands. I'm gonna make it a brighter place with my own two hands. I'm gonna make it a safer place with my own two hands. I'm gonna help the human race with my own two hands, with my own two hands, with my own two hands. I can hold you in my own two hands, and I can comfort you with my own two hands. But you've got to use your own two hands, use your own two hands, use your own two hands, with our own two hands, with our own two hands, with my own two hands. A little country in there. All right. Thank you.
Hey, hey, good morning, everyone. Everybody feel good? How many people don't feel good? Sit down a little closer. You're going to feel really good. Come on down here. You're going to feel really good when this service is going, because we got a great bunch of music and a fantastic talk. Okay, is there anybody here from a Unity Church elsewhere? Some other Unity Church? Anyone? Okay. Is there anybody here for the first time? Oh yes, back there. What else? Anybody? Oh, you got to raise your hand higher. Our ushers have to be able to see your hand to give you a phenomenal gift. We have a gift for people that are here for the first time. So keep your hand up, please, so the ushers can find you, give you that pack of cigarettes. Okay, something, because down here, ushers, we have somebody down here who's new for the first time. All right. If you're with cell phone, and most of you are, please tell your cell phones off, because it can interfere with our sound system. So please turn them off, and you will really be able to take this time and enjoy the energy, the spirit, the inspiration that will be coming through Syntysche. At the first service, it was so beautiful, so moving. There's a message in this talk today that I know everyone here is going to embrace. It's going to inspire you and it's going to change something in your life today. Be open for that, because this is an amazing talk.
But fortunately for all of us, before we get to that talk, we get to have some announcements. And we do have a few things coming up. We have our annual craft fair that we have every year. If you have any crafts or any arts that you make and you'd like to sell and have a table, either one of them, we do it for 2 weekends, Sunday, November 25th and December 2nd. Please let us know in the office. We can get you a table for one or both days. It's $40 a day for a table. And they are going fast, so if you would like to have a table at our craft fair, please let us know. And that craft fair, when we have it going, it will run from 10 a.m. till 3 p.m., so it's a good full day of selling. So let us know about that. We also have our Christmas wreaths for sale right out here in the lobby on this side. They're for a suggested love offering of $37, and you can pick them up the Sunday after Thanksgiving, and they are fantastic wreaths. I get one every year. It lasts well into January. It's staying beautiful. And we also have our Thanksgiving Joy Sing on Thanksgiving and our potluck. It's a fantastic event if you'd like to come out for it and spend your lunch with us here on Thanksgiving. But also, we need volunteers for that. And there's a pass-around sheet going around. If you'd like to volunteer for that, we need help from everything from the day before of setting up tables and setting up the room, to cooking, to cleaning up after the event. If you'd like to be a part of it, it's always a well-attended event, and everyone who volunteers for it always has a good time. If you're interested, please let us know or sign up. And if anyone would like to donate a turkey or two, we're looking to get about 5 turkeys or any bags of potatoes. We would welcome those and would love that. Now I'd like to have our good friend Steve Hayes come on out here.
Good morning. Let's take a moment for prayer. I encourage you to relax in your seat and just become present to this moment. Let us take this moment and settle into the kingdom of heaven within us. In this spirit that is in the core of our being, let us breathe in peace. Let us breathe in love. In this space, in this awareness, let us relax into the flow of spirit. And in this flow, we can release our fears. We can surrender to this moment. We can trust in what will be. In this space, in this awareness, let us take this love and light that is within us out into the world and see and remember that the kingdom of heaven is in all people, all places, and all things. Father, Mother, God, we are so grateful that your unconditional love is ever present and available. Father, Mother, God, we are so grateful. Thank you for all your infinite blessings. And to this we say, Amen.
Now, we ask you to join us in opening your hearts in preparation for the talk. We'd like Holy Spirit into this room. We'd like you to join us if you feel led. I'll ask you to stand and sing in a few moments with us. Here I am, letting go of my fears, surrendering all, surrendering all. Find me here, God, as you draw me near. I'm ready for you. I'm ready for you. I surrender. Heal my soul as mercy and grace unfold. I'm longing and ready. I'm longing and ready. With my heart wide, I know you hear my cry. Guide me now. Guide me now. I surrender. I surrender. I want to feel you more. I want to feel you more. I surrender. I surrender. I want to feel you more. I want to feel you more. Now I ask you to stand with us. Open your hearts. Here I am, letting go
Thanks, babe. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. I love that song, the surrendering to, and I love the idea of the rushing wind, and it's really like fits with the sermon that I'm giving today of that rushing wind of Spirit moving us and guiding us and directing us and learning to surrender and let go of our attachments to this outer experience and start to discover that magical, miraculous realm that can literally change and grow and move anything that's not working in our lives. Today my talk title is, Do You or Do You Not Want to Know What Is Beyond You? That's a quote by Michael Singer, who wrote Untethered Soul, The Surrender Project is amazing writer, amazing books. I would highly recommend if you're in a spell where you're ready to shift some stuff, he will really take you through the application of doing that. But today's talk is about looking beyond your physical experience and discovering the ethereal, the ether realm, the part of us that is the soul level, the part of us that never dies. It's what we're born with. It's the very core of who we are, the knowledgeable, the years of many lifetimes of knowledge, and accessing all those lifetimes worth of information and starting to have a blow-your-mind life where we can think and have. We can literally, just like children do, to think and have, to manifest out of this abundant universe, to bring ourselves back to health when we're dealing with issues with our physical bodies, to bring us back to joy when we're facing depression or darkness. Because we look upon ourselves as from an intellectual level, a lot of us lean on the intellect to bring the shifts in life, and we find that we're stuck and stagnant and don't know how to move through the difficult things of our lives. So I want to speak about that today, and I'm going to be sharing a very, very special story later in this talk about a very close friend of mine and a miracle that happened in her life in the last month, and I can't wait to share it with you because this is why I do this work. This is why I answered the call to ministry, is to experience the miraculous not only in my own life and the miracles that have been manifested in my life. I mean, I've been in very, very dark spaces in my life. I've also been in incredible unfoldment of positive energy that I put out there, that I brought the joy back into my life. I love working with all of you. I love to hear your stories of miracles that have happened in your life, and I get to listen to that stuff every single day. I look through a lens of expectations of miracles. I don't live from a place of just the intellect and thinking that the intellect can change anything. I look at this relationship with God, or call it source or spirit, whatever word makes you feel hugged. You always know that I always say that because a lot of people have a relationship with the word God that doesn't feel positive. So if that doesn't, please fill it with something else. But I was raised in unity, so God is not a judgmental man in the sky that's judging us and dictating, and we have to, when we do really good things in favor, then he blesses us, and this idea is not what unity is. God is this greater power, this greater love that guides and directs every aspect of our life. And if things are not going well, then you are the one that has cut yourself off from that greater love. There's never a time that God is giving you more favor and not more favor. These difficult times are because you're starting to believe in the illusion of the things that are difficult in your life, and you're speaking to that way too much instead of the power that lives within you, and speaking to that and getting your practice back on course and getting yourself meditating before food, before coffee, and remembering that your spiritual food is the most important, because why don't you want to know what is beyond you and your human form to prove God in your own life through you? Who wants to know that? Who wants to be a vehicle of God to make a difference for this environment and start making some choices that's going to make this world spin and keep spinning for our children, their children, and children? Because we can't live small anymore. If we're going to live in the intellect and we're not going to sink into the heart and start getting out of our own way and letting Spirit rush through our lives and start guiding and directing and putting us in what our purpose is. What is it that God wants us to be and do here? Are we living small in relationships that are speaking poorly to us and we're not feeling like we're flying and growing? We got to end relationships that are dark, that are keeping us living small, because then it's still speaking to the limitation that you believe there's something limited in you. So you have a reflection in your life that's always reminding of this limitation. We have to make strong choices when we decide to get on this spiritual path. And when we really want to invoke this life, this light through us, a lot of times there's a lot of things that fall away. Because we have to choose really high consciousness friends. We have to choose to surround ourselves with enlightenment and awakening and beauty, and it's everything. It's our food. When we finally attain that high level of consciousness and we're walking in this beauty, we're able to look at our life from the divine mind, with those divine ideas being planted. And all of a sudden, your life is unfolding into something you could have never, ever imagined was possible. Because life literally is magic. And if you're not experiencing that magic, then something has gone very wrong. That's a quote of yours or something, right? If you aren't experiencing miracles, something's gone wrong, right? What is it, Dad? Do you remember the quote? Let me put you on the spot. Are you awake? Are you sleeping during my sermon? He wasn't. I'm just too.
I remember that particular quote. I remember the essence of it, which you got right. If you're not experiencing a miracle, something is going wrong in your life.
Yeah.
It has to do with your thinking.
So it's what we hold in our mind brings back the same of its kind. So what are we holding about ourselves? So there's this great little story that is in a wonderful book that I was reading this week that I read 100 years ago, and I just picked it up and just read it, but I wanted to read this. There's a story of a family that brought home their new baby, their second child. One evening, their 3-year-old daughter said she wanted to go into the baby's room alone. At first reluctant because they feared there might be some sibling rivalry, the parent finally granted their daughter her wish. Besides, with the intercom they had in the baby's room, they could listen in on and make sure everything was okay. As their daughter tiptoes up to the baby's crib, they heard her softly say, "Baby, remind me what God is like. I'm beginning to forget." And this really did happen in the book. Like, it's got all sorts of great stories like this. It's like Reader's Digest stories. And what this is really about is that we are born of the divine. We are literally all the children of God. No one has been given more favor or not. We are made in the image of perfection. And we know that when we enter this life. And then there are handed situations where we could have parents that had alcohol problems or drug problems, or we could be handed situations where we got an abusive relationship early in those teenage years or in those formative years, and all of a sudden there's been a lot of visuals of you're lacking in this lifetime instead of your limitlessness. There's a part that has been, it started to break your heart and it broke you down, and you no longer look through a lens of power, but you look through a lens of fear. And so then we live small because we don't want to put ourselves out there to get any more cuts that could hurt us the way those situations did. Gerald Jampolsky says it this way: when we are depressed, somewhere deep inside, we are denying the presence of God. When we are depressed, somewhere deep inside, we are denying the presence of God. I have a friend in this place, this church, that has been facing some depression problems, and I was talking to this person, and we're doing a mirroring, and I'm mirroring the power of this person back to her and helping her come back into, you are me, and I am you, and I understand what depression is, and I want to help you come out of this. But she's sharing what's going on, and sometimes we need to speak to the darkness that's happening so we can start to look to the light. But she kept saying over and over, I am so sorry, I'm so embarrassed, I'm so sorry to say all this, I'm so embarrassed. As if she was burdening me for me to be sitting with her, to mirror back the beauty that's in her. So clearly the issue underneath this was, I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. I don't have the power to pull myself out of this darkness. And I'm starting to think about some things that are really dangerous. And I was saying, I am willing to be here all day, all night, whatever it takes for you to remember who you are. That's what I was put on this planet to do, is to help people remember who they are. Because I spent my first formative 35 years speaking to, finding out who I am. And I've been preaching up here, sharing, as I'm discovering who I am. And we will be discovering who we are for the rest of our lives, and then into the next life, and into the next life. But I chose to grow this lifetime. Edgar Casey talks about the soul comes to grow. This is a school. It's a spiritual school. So we do get adversity, and we do have difficult things come up in our lives because it grows us, or it kills us, or it makes us go into depression. But we have choices. We have free will to grow through these difficult things. So perhaps the first path to take is having a willingness to go beyond the word God. Maybe we can't define God, but we can certainly experience God. To allow such an experience, we need to let go of any past perceptions. Right? So how many has a story of God that makes you uneasy from your past? I appreciate your bravery and putting your hand up, because that's a very common issue for people. So we have to face that. We can't have that thing just gnawing at us, and then we're sitting in unity, but we're still speaking from these rote prayers that we think we're going to manipulate God and start to change God so that God will give us what we want. And it's this kind of an experience versus, let me turn and face this God that I was raised with. Where can I find the love in this God? And start to merge this in a God that is pure love, that is divinely waiting for your attention, for you to let go and let God carry you to the healing of whatever area is being called in your life to be carried to. A lot of times when we get down on ourselves and we speak poorly to ourselves in consciousness. Maybe not to other people, but we'll say like, why did you do that? Why did you get yourself in that situation? We will speak down to our spirits. And the Bhagavad Gita says it this way. Says that one should raise the self with self, not trample down the self. The idea of this is that there really is two selves. There's the lower natured self that believes in the world that something outside of us is going to fix our lives. And then there's the spiritual self. And that spiritual self has to come down and be lifted up and claimed when we're feeling that separation and feeling that depression where we do feel the absence of God. Okay, so this last summer, I performed a wedding for one of my girlfriends that's been a friend of mine since high school. And a bunch of my friends from high school came to be at this wedding. I know we seem old to be getting married. She's like the last, finally got her person. And one of the people that came was like a college roommate of mine. And so I haven't seen her in a very long time. And we were very good friends all the way through high school. And this friend of mine, Amy, has struggled with self-love and worthiness her entire life. Just out the gate, her story didn't really set her up for success. She was put up for adoption. She had scarlet fever as a baby, so she didn't actually get placed for 2 years. So I think that a syndrome that had possibly taken her over is what they call an unattached child. It's a syndrome that happens when children are not held enough. They're kind of in an orphanage situation and they're in cribs and they really need to be touched. They have to be felt. That's really important about the encouragement of the Spirit. And she didn't have those 2 years. She had an empty life, and then she got a family here in Boulder. And they did a good enough job. But the desire in her to find her mother was everything. Okay, so all the way through high school, she looked to all the dark places of life to fulfill herself through men, through drinking, through, you name it. It was just that insecure way of trying to fill the glass to feel like she was enough. And by the time we get to, college age, it's the same story. It's like a broken record. So now I haven't seen her in years. We kind of keep, up like all of us do it through Facebook. I mean, we'll say like and hearts and stupid things like that to connect, but we're not really like deeply connected anymore. But of course, after the wedding, we're all staying at the same hotel. She and I ended up at the table, and it's like 0 time left. I mean, it was 18 years probably, but it was like I just said goodbye to her yesterday, and here she was. It was like that sisterhood was there. And the one thing that stood out the most to me was that it was the same exact story all these years later, which was, I haven't found my mom. I've been looking this entire time. She was adopted through a Catholic adoption agency, which they are the best at doing the stone-clad, like lock it down. You do not find these children, you don't find the parents, they don't get put back together. And she's really given up. She's got this hopelessness to her. She doesn't look healthy. She doesn't feel whole as far as my energy sitting there empathically. I was worried about her energetically. And I realized that I kind of had to do the tough love thing where it's almost like I had to get almost aggressive. You need to start believing in your power. You have so much more power in this situation, but I know you feel powerless right now because you're believing that nothing is coming true, nothing is happening, nothing's moving. But if you believed that you're going to find your mom, you're going to find your mom. You may find out that she's dead, but you will find out something about your story because you deserve that. You don't have to do another 30 or 40 years without knowing what happened. And I told her, I watched this show called Long Lost Family. Has anybody watched this show? Where it's all through Ancestry.com, and they help people find their family members. And I was like, you're a perfect person that they will take you and probably film your process, and they're going to help you at least find your mom. Regardless, you're going to get the answers to your questions. So she had her seed planted, but I was the rushing wind, okay? As the friend, I was mirroring a truth that she knows deeply within herself. So let me take you back a little bit. She converted to Catholicism when she was 18 years old because she knew she was adopted through the Catholic Church. This is the only way she could have connected with her family, right? She wasn't a religious person, or at least she wasn't raised religious, and she's probably one of the most devoted Catholics in service and kindness and heartfelt goodness. Like, she's an amazing soul all these years, and she looked into it. So I leave the conversation. I think it's gone well. I'm kind of worried I was a little bit harsh with her, but I felt the Spirit of God just come through, and I wanted this for her, and I just didn't want her to keep seeing it as this isn't going to happen for her. If I had more time, I would have written her story and just sent it into the Long Lost Family and hopefully get her on the show. So maybe a month goes by after that, and I've not really talked to her. We've just kind of like Facebooked some likes and things like this. And I'm coming home from work, from here. I had just finished a sermon. This is about a month ago. And it's her. She's calling me, and I'm just driving up to my house. And I don't really usually talk to people after. I usually go to lunch with my family, and then I go and I pass out. Like, I put all my energy into this, and then I'm very exhausted. But I wanted to take this phone call because I didn't know. She doesn't usually call me, so I answered. And she goes, Syntysche. And she's just sobbing hysterically. Sobbing, sobbing, sobbing. I can't get her to really calm down. And I'm like, are you driving right now? I could tell. I'm like, you need to pull over. I mean, I don't know what's going on. I was just hoping something didn't happen to her treasured child who's like 15 years or 16 years old. She finally calms down and she says, I found my mom. And she said, you will never believe this, but I'm driving home right now after holding my mom as she took her last breath. She had calmed down and finally tells me the backstory that she watched the show, Long Lost Family. She decided to immediately get the swab and do the DNA test that goes into the computer that finds other people that could be your family members, and they found a first cousin. Within that discovery, the cousin gets a hold of her and calls her and says, oh my God, we've been looking for you our whole life. Your mom is going to be so thrilled. You have no idea. You were so loved. You were so missed. You were so needed. We prayed about you for your birthdays every single Christmas. She bought you something. She has everything. She's never, ever forgotten you. You're her only child. And she's still married to your dad. And her father had taken this baby and put it up for adoption without her mother's consent because she was 17 and he could do that. So he took the love of this woman's life away from her mother. And my friend Amy has felt this her whole life, and I have too. I could always feel, I know she wants you. I could just feel it. But the affirmation to finally hear, I'm loved, I'm needed, I'm missed, I'm cherished, I'm a child of this family. So the cousin lets her know you have a father, but your mom is dying of cancer right now in a hospice in this random town that happens to be in Florida, and it happens to be a half an hour from Amy's house in Florida, which what's so bizarre about it is that the woman's from New Jersey and has gone down to this hospice to die. Her husband's too sick to come down to the hospice, so she's completely alone. So for a week, she got to go visit her mother and lay in that bed and hear every story that she could have possibly had, the letters, the presents, the everything. There was no one there visiting her. And she got to have the answers to all of her questions. And then her mama went into that coma space after about 4 or 5 days. And she held her for days. And then on that Sunday, she went to her Catholic church and she lit a candle and said, please take her. I can't watch this anymore. And she went back, she climbed in bed, and she took her last breath in her arms. If this is not a proof that God is real, this is the kind of stories I hear every day in this work here. If this can happen for someone else, this can happen for every one of you in whatever area you're feeling disconnected, because you can tune in and you can plug into this greater something that wants to fulfill and wants to heal the part of you that still doesn't believe you deserve everything that you do deserve. This person says, at various points in our lives or on a quest, and for reasons that often remain obscure, we're driven to make decisions which prove with hindsight to be loaded with meaning. At various points in our lives or on a quest, and for reasons that often remain obscure, we are driven to make decisions which prove with hindsight to be loaded with meaning. So first of all, there had to be the wedding, which this was also the friend that was never going to get married, so that was very obscure. Then I had to be with her. That seed was planted in her head, but she needed to be reminded that it had to be watered. I sent her in a new direction than she'd been seeking before, and then God sent her mom to her neighborhood to be held by her daughter. You just can't really make those coincidences happen. Not to mention she did lose her mom, but she has gained a beautiful father and a relationship with him, and he is thrilled beyond measure. So for Amy, this connection validated that she was wanted and loved. That is why the spiritual path is here for us to move through these things. See, sometimes we won't get there in time. We won't get to that completion moment in time because we heard this whisper too late. So in those circumstances, we have to do the spiritual practice of knowing that Spirit can heal any void that's keeping us from really unfolding ourselves with the love that we deserve, with the jobs that we deserve, with the health that we deserve. When we really get that we don't really have to have the completion with other people from those difficult relationships, we can heal that with God, because God can heal those wounds. Yes, it's a blessing when we get to have the outer experience that touches the inner, and that visual is so beautiful, but we can also do it through God. In The Silence of the Heart by Paul Farini, he says this: only your fear keeps you in resistance to life. Move through the fear by breathing, and the resistance dissolves. Now you are flowing with the current of life. Do you need to get a job, be married, have children, write books, give talks, feed the hungry, save the disenfranchised and disheartened? Not unless they join you in the river, river representing spirit, soul, source, God. And if they do, you can be sure it is not you working, marrying, procreating, writing, talking, feeding, or saving. It is the river doing it through you. And so you remain cheerful and at ease whatever you are doing. Nothing keeps you from breathing, because breathing is your only responsibility. So I'll give you a very simple yardstick. If you can't breathe, don't do it. And if you try to do it anyway, remember to breathe. And I'm going to put my favorite Bible quote up here. And be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, in Romans 12:2. And do not sign up for the difficulties of the world, but be transformed by the memory of the truth of your power, unfolding in every area of your life. So I'm going to take you into a meditation, and I just want you to get comfortable in your seat. And if you want to write an intention for yourself that you want to work with this week, I would highly encourage it. Remember an area of your life that you would like to have this rushing wind take over and start bringing about the change that you want to see. Write it down so you work with it this week, and then ask for love. Ask for wisdom. Ask for divine guidance with it. And then quiet your mind and expect a perfect response. And then find your gratitude statement of thanking God for giving you the healing of this particular area. And it can be a couple areas if there's more than one area that you're having a difficult time. Saying a prayer, bringing up the idea of what's bothering you or it's taking your peace away. Asking for love, understanding, and wisdom. Quiet your mind and expect a response. And then find a gratitude statement that says thank you for the healing already coming your way. I'm going to invite Norm out here, and we're going to do a singing meditation for you. This is Lord, guide me to love all my life, oh my Lord, my Lord, guide me. And I'm grateful for you. Amen.
We will take an offering for unity now. As we're preparing to do that, I'd just like you to take a moment to reflect on what has happened here in this last hour. This talk has come through, the Spirit has come through to share with you so that you can leave here with a way to make that contact with the divine within you, knowing that you are part of this divine matrix, and it wants you to find that happiness and harmony that you may have been holding away from yourself, because there's no middlemen in this. These are just the words of the divine, inviting you to find the life you were born to live. So now, with that, let's feel the gratitude that comes with knowing that, and put that gratitude into our offering. As we take our offerings in our hands, let's bless them with this offering statement. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, because I give. Together, please. Divine love blesses and multiplies. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, because I give.
When you walk through a storm, hold your head.
All right, well, that concludes our service. We're going to have our beautiful Sunday school come up here. We want to invite you that we have refreshments in this room over here, and the ministers will be over there. I'd love to meet you if you're new today, or even if you're not new. I'd like to see you anyway. And then on this side, we have CDs and DVDs of the sermon right after the talk in the bookstore. And let's all rise and close with a closing benediction. And with a rushing wind, get out there and vote for our planet.